So we haven't made a video about our boy Boros in a while. And I guess it's partly because we're kind of like in a new format, I guess you could say, of One Punch Man at this moment. The post-Cosmic Fear format, because after Cosmic Fear Garo was introduced and, you know, everything that happened after that, it seems like everything that came prior to it kind of just seems way less significant than it originally was. Because the, not just power scale, but like the grandness and I guess intrigue of the series has increased to an incredible high. And before Cosmic Fear Garo, it was kind of like Boros that was on that pedestal, right? Which had the series in a very nice sweet spot, I think, for like the last couple years, as to where he was revealed relatively early on, and then the series continued for, you know, a long time after that, and was kind of always chasing after Boros, more or less. At least in relation to Saitama and where the series could go. But now that we've reached the next paradigm shift of the series with Cosmic Fear Garo, Boros is kind of just going to live in his shadow from this point on. That made me think, like, you know, what if we had a role reversal here? What if it wasn't Garo that became the avatar of God and was given the power that made him Cosmic Fear Garo, but what if it was Boros instead? And I think Boros would be a perfect candidate, because I also think that Boros is tied to God in some way regardless. And I've talked about this in many videos before, but it's possible that Boros is so powerful, especially in relation to the rest of his race, as he claims, because of some kind of intervention from God, possibly. Hey, also guys, if you like my One Punch Man content, please subscribe if you haven't already. It's fine if you don't want to, but if you just needed a reminder, here you go. Thanks. So at this point, we could just go into some hypotheticals and think like, okay, so let's just say everything played out the same way that it did, with Boros coming to Earth, fighting Saitama, and ultimately losing after getting Serious Punch. But what if instead of the ship just going down and seemingly killing Boros, instead, at the moment when he's just like a chewed up torso, God intervenes at that point, similar to how he intervened with Garo when he was initially defeated by Saitama. And God does, you know, whatever he needs to convince Boros of accepting his power. Who knows what Boros would need to see. But he does it, and he makes Boros his avatar and gives him the Cosmic Fear power. So it's like, how strong would Boros be at that point? And I think he would probably be in the same tier as Cosmic Fear Garo, to be honest. Because beforehand, Meteoric Burst Boros, I think, was still kind of stronger, at least like on a physicality level, compared to like pre-Cosmic Fear Garo. And I talked about this in my original Boros versus Garo video that I made 2 years ago. And of course, things were much different then. There was no Cosmic Fear Garo, there was no Gargoyle Garo or anything. We only really had webcomic Awakened Garo to go off of. And the story of that fight was Meteoric Burst Boros was just too strong and too durable for Awakened Garo from the webcomic to take down, essentially. Like, webcomic Awakened Garo would have ultimately had to replicate power equal to or greater than Saitama's consecutive normal punches, or just like a serious punch. And I just don't think he was capable of it at that time. As to where Meteoric Burst Boros, like, his power, punches, energy output was just way too much for really anyone in the series, at least that we knew at the time. So I just think that if you take the inherent power that he already had, which was at, you know, an unbelievable level, and you amplify that to the Cosmic Fear power-up level, then I think he's, like I said, rivaling, if not even surpassing, Cosmic Fear Garo. Not in overall power, but just like physicality. Now, like I said, just physicality here. I don't think he's overall surpassing Garo, because Garo has many traits and abilities that Boros doesn't, such as Garo's ability to instantly absorb and copy any techniques, his inherent genius ability, which relates not only to martial arts, but possibly just movement in general, along with like his ability to get stronger as he is pushed by his opponent. Similar to Saitama, of course, but as we saw, you know, Saitama obviously removed his limiter, so therefore there was no limit to his power, as where that's not the case with Garo. And all of these things obviously played a large part in how strong Cosmic Fear Garo was able to become, because, you know, once he became the avatar of God and gained the Cosmic Fear mode, he was given the knowledge of the flow of all energy and the behavior of all forces in the universe, and that synergized with all of Garo's, you know, base abilities and traits, which he was able to really make the most use of this because of that. And I think that if Boros were to become the avatar and gain the Cosmic Fear mode, he would also very likely gain the knowledge of the flow of all energy and the behavior of all forces in the universe, of course. But considering how Boros is, he wouldn't utilize it the same way that Garo did. And that's because there's like a contrast between Boros and Garo. Garo is like the martial artist. He's methodical, he's a counter striker while also being aggressive, also analyzes the fight, copies his opponent, and uses it to his advantage. Boros, on the other hand, doesn't care about any of that stuff. He's just a full-blown, like, athletic berserker. Like, when he fights Saitama, he never blocks a single time. He just goes at him head first, pure power. Like, he'll take 3 strikes just so he can land 1. So we're probably not going to see him use like the nuclear fission fist, but considering how powerful he is, his strikes would probably just be able to replicate that amount of power regardless in a cosmic fear mode, because the first strike that Boros lands after becoming meteoric burst on Saitama is already like a mini nuclear fission fist in itself. So just extrapolate that to the cosmic fear level. Aside from that, in relation to his energy manipulation, we saw that, you know, a part of Boros's game was firing off energy projectiles, and just imagine how strong that would be on the cosmic fear level. As we saw with Garo, you know, he was able to do like a freaking gamma ray burst, and I think that Boros could easily replicate that. Maybe not necessarily like literally a gamma ray burst. Boros probably wouldn't be thinking of the fundamentals that creates a gamma ray burst, but just the pure energy output that he would be able to produce would either rival or even surpass what a gamma ray burst is. And that being said, imagine what the collapsing star roaring cannon would be. Like, he would probably have to change the name of it to something grander. I don't know how strong it would be in power scalar terms because everybody judges things differently. But I think it's safe to say at that point that it would far surpass the ability to just simply destroy Earth. But regardless, if Saitama did have to fight Cosmic Fear Boros, he very likely would have to increase his power, similar to how he did against Garo. Obviously, Boros wouldn't be going into mode Saitama and trying to mimic the amount of power that Saitama is producing, so Saitama would gradually get stronger and stronger, of course, but it would be relative to just Boros already being that strong, and then Saitama just having to rise to the occasion, because at this point, it seems like if Boros was given, you know, Cosmic Fear mode, he would probably become stronger than just what base Saitama was at that point. At least it seems that way, if that makes sense. But yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comments. How crazy do you think Cosmic Fear Boros would be? And if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.